on this particular story in the title. Thank you for folks being here. I appreciate you. Real one. Game over. You're a real one. Thank you. This is about the outrage of something that happened while I was at work. Is outrage grows over two black men arrested at Philly Starbucks, reported by NBC New York. And what's going on? Hi, Molly Dolly. Molly Dolly. Brand in India, thank you for coming through. I appreciate you for basically coming through. Crimson Fantasy, I appreciate you as well. So I mean, besides that, I appreciate you for coming through as well. Thank you. I don't know if people heard about this story, but this is a story that happened basically yesterday. I was at work at the time, so I'm just going to read a little bit of the excerpt from, or some of it, a lot of it, what basically what happened. Just trying to recap for those that don't know. I don't know if folks get into the news like that. This iPad, come on, the struggle of the iPad. I think my thing is messing up on me on purpose. It's discriminating on me, But basically, there was an outrage over two black men who were at a Starbucks, and the two black men at the Starbucks were basically sitting in the Starbucks waiting for a friend, and they weren't buying anything, which it's not a big deal. It's not a problem, but let me read it. It says, after two men were seen in social media video being handcuffed and removed by police officers from a Philadelphia Starbucks Thursday, the coffee chain issued an apology and said it was looking into the unfortunate result. Authorities were called to the store in Center City when the two men allegedly remained in the Starbucks after a manager told them that they had to order something. According to the witnesses inside the Starbucks at 18th and Spruce Street, about 5 to 7 police officers arrived at 4:30 p.m. and arrested the two men. So this happened Thursday. Excuse me. I just want to get my facts straight. I guess last Thursday, that's when they're saying the two men have not been identified. Later released after Starbucks declined to press trespassing charges. Video of the encounter showed the two men claim as they are surrounded by officers who asked them to stand up, handcuff them, and lead them out the store. Witnesses inside could be saying, asking, what did the men do to the arrested officers as they led them out? And basically, what they were saying to them. Long story short of it all, I'm not going to read through the whole thing. You could look up the story yourself. Long story short of it all, there were two men in the Starbucks, in Philadelphia, Center City, sitting there, not buying anything, waiting for a friend, doing something that folks normally do as it pertains to just waiting around for people at public places. This is probably one of the reasons why I don't like waiting for people in public places, because stuff like this can happen. Would be it because of racial profiling or not. I get nervous. Maybe La Policia might come and wrap me up and throw me in handcuffs. But the two men that were basically waiting for a friend, in this Philadelphia Starbucks weren't doing anything wrong. If you go, by I guess regular standards, of human decency, but if you're gonna go by the standards of what it is inside of a private Starbucks, which is a private, private space open to the public, basically what they're saying is, you have to buy something. So, what's going on, Lulu? Love you. Appreciate you for coming through. Got some trolls in the chat. I see you. Appreciate you, Bumblebee. Besides that, I saw you. I'm gonna keep this serious as possible. But I was asked to give my thoughts, basically, or do a video about this and speak on this. Literally, I was at work and I was given the text message, look, Mel, check this out. What do you think? And I think it's sad. And I do agree with what the mayor of the city said, basically, it's what racial profiling may look like, in, today's, in 2018. I mean, I think two people should be able to sit down, and just chat and hang out, especially if they're not doing anything wrong, you know, in a private space open to the public. Yeah, Tosh time it is sick, but this is I hate unfortunately this is the world we live in. These are the things that happen. We haven't come as far as we would like to believe. As it comes to racial injustice in our society. And let's not even go overseas. But I'm not going to try to lecture anybody overseas about things that happen, because they didn't have a civil rights movement over there in Europe and Asia and stuff like that, in Africa, not that I know of. But here, we we go through what we go through, and it's sad that two people, that of color, two American citizens that weren't committing a crime, were sitting down and just waiting for a friend. And the crazy thing about it is that as they were being arrested and taken out the store, their friend showed up and basically, you know, um, was like, hey, he was waiting for me. Like I said, it's sad because, it's like there was no other reason to hold these folks other than the fact that you may have been afraid that they were going to rob the store because what, were they black? Were they dangerous? Were they a threat? Were they imminent threat? And there was, some white people, some Caucasian folks around that said they'd done the same thing many times. One of the ladies actually who filmed the video of these two men being arrested said, "Look, I was in the same Starbucks at the same time, and I didn't buy anything there. I came in with another Starbucks coffee from another place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As they're saying, Caesar, that's what they're saying. When you go into a Starbucks, you can't sit there unless you're buying something. But here's the thing, they give you free Wi-Fi in a lot of these Starbucks. They encourage you to stay around and hang out there, whether you're drinking a Starbucks or not. But then I guess you're saying that you need to be sitting there with a Starbucks, and this is not something that they're consistent with. It's like one of the reporters that originally reported the story said she spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer, yeah, yeah, a little bit of it does, saying, I agree with you. A little bit reminds me of Rosa Parks as well, and one of the ladies was saying, one of the reporters was saying that she spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer was basically saying that if you're gonna do this, you have to have it blanketed around the board. I hate that when I go on the bus and the lady pulls out a purse by the side. Profiling sucks. Yeah, so profiling does sucks. What's up, Rebel? Stay sovereign. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Profiling of any type of any kind sucks, but as being a black person in America, and I guess Tosh Tom could definitely attest to this. It's a different level for us. Imagine being discriminated against on for just being different. And no offense to the gay community, like I said, if somebody's LGBT, you know, um, at least they could not express, that, side of themselves. They don't have to be LGBT in that moment, but they can still get discriminated against, but being a black person, whether you're, you know, doing the right thing or not, you can't hide your color, you can't hide who you are, no, nor should you hide who you are. But, it becomes an issue because, like I said, it's even sitting down in the Starbucks. It really is a different level for us. Yeah. So, well, that statement. Thank you, Tosh Tom. I appreciate it. It is different. I mean, because I know Tosh Tom is a well-educated, well-spoken businesswoman that does her thing, but she knows what it's like. Sometimes when you're just walking in the supermarket or you're in certain areas and people giving you looks and clutching their purse or afraid to be around you, and it's sad. It's sad that in 2018 we have these particular type of things, and even the white people who are around, the Caucasian people who are around watching this event was saying, what did these guys do? You know, um, we don't see any wrongdoing that they did. And it's sad. It's sad. It's something that really saddens me as a black man, and to see two black men, go through something like that. And to tell you the truth, I'm proud of those brothers how they handled themselves. Because we shouldn't have to face stuff like this. It really saddens me. We shouldn't have to face stuff like this. It shouldn't be like this, but it is. You have to watch yourself in the streets. You got to watch yourself, when you go around certain places, that, you may get profiled, you will get profiled. It's something where, you have to, make sure you're not in a threatening manner or nature or whatever with folks. God forbid that they would have been, threatening or raised their voice in any way in 2018 for it to be like this to say, yeah, I agree with you. That's just history. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Crimson Fancy. I appreciate that. It's sad. It's really sad. It's like some part of me doesn't really know what to say. Another part of me is like, you know, um, kudos to those brothers, man. Kudos to those brothers that did what they had to do. And that's just how you respond into it. They did nothing wrong. They broke no laws. Um, Thank you for coming by, Green Bay Wacky. I appreciate you. Like I said, kudos to those brothers in the video, that were arrested, in that particular situation and how they handled it. I mean, I think that's a model for how you should handle, a situation that's a potential racial profiler. And as for the manager of that Starbucks, that I mean, she sucks. I hope I don't witness this profiling here with Sally. Probably, well, I hope you don't either, Molly 1K Dolly. But like I said, it saddens me as a civil human being. How could this happen to anyone? It happens because there's ignorance that's still in the world. People, they judge folks. They assume things. They have these exposed, I guess thoughts in their mind, these fears and things that happen. And it's just I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just as rough. When I was sent the story earlier on, I just automatically I just said it's sad. I didn't even look at the video, and then later on when I actually got to look at the video and read the story, and I just said, wow. So this is just straight up racial profiling. There's no other way to say it. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't dance around it. I can't tell you, yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know about ancestral trauma, whatever the case may be, but I just know this particular situation was it was sad. As human beings, how do you justify this? How do you I mean, you can, but where's the where's the moral grounds? Racist actions and thoughts are usually taught. Very sad. You know, I can't say it wasn't racial profiling, Taj. I mean, even the officers were kind of confused. I mean, the manager should be fired. Whoever the manager of that Starbucks is should be fired. I mean, and I don't normally say stuff like that. I normally don't come out and just straight up say it like that. But whoever that manager is should be fired. I mean, because being a manager myself, in a particular situation and dealing with stuff, you know that it's at the discretion of the manager. You can't pick and choose when you want to follow company policies, be it you working at a Fortune 500 company or a non-for-profit organization, be it you working in a strip club. You can't decide when and when you're not going to follow, company policies because then it becomes discrimination, then it becomes profiling. I mean, how do you say it's not racial discrimination? Because there were people in the Starbucks in Philadelphia, the Center City Starbucks, in that particular Starbucks, who did not buy anything. There were people who were just sitting there doing the exact same thing that these young men were doing, and thank God it didn't get violent. Thank God they were peaceable about it, So like I said, enough can't be said about that, and it's sad sometimes. I wonder how many people of color that manager hires at the particular Starbucks. Who knows? I mean, I'll be honest with you, Tosh Time. I could really care less about that manager. I could care less about that manager to put people through that particular type of embarrassment, to put through that shame. It's sad. It's sad because it doesn't have any place in humanity, a just society. But this is the world that we live in. It's imperfections and ignorance, and hopefully the manager, whoever it was, can find some I don't know, some solace in in knowing that those brothers weren't going to be shaken by this situation. And that's what we need. But it is, on the flip side though, it is something to have to, as a black person, to have to constantly be the one that's you have to. It's like when I come in contact with the cops, I have to make sure I'm behaving myself and I'm cool and I'm calm, because I know if I'm not cool, if I'm not calm, then it could be another situation. It could be another Philando Castillo. It could be another Michael Brown. It could be another Trayvon Martin. It could be another Walter Scott. Any situation. Pick a name. What I'm saying, like I said. And when you have that and you see that, like I said, there were people. Many people of color. Online, who were actually shaken by it. Really afraid, because you say to yourself, you want to work with the police, you want to be a law-abiding citizen, you want to do the right thing, and when you see stuff like this happen, what do you say? What do you do? What is supposed to happen? Thank you, Chris Spirit, for coming through. And this is not just Starbucks. I'm not just putting this on Starbucks. I would say when I mentioned in Chicago, no one had anything positive to say for the whole city. Well, all of Chicago is not bad. It's Starbucks. Corporate involves. Sorry, I did not hear the story. The manager should at least be reprimanded. Sandra Bland, Oscar Grant. There you go. All those names. Um, this is a story that was hidden. This was buried because Starbucks or whoever, they didn't want this stuff out there. This was something that happened last Thursday. So they wasn't really trying to report on this, and somebody put it to me. So me being a person of color, I have to talk about it. Have you experienced in your face racism? Yeah, I've experienced racism for coming in this country, coming in this country, being born in this country. Sorry about that. Being born in this country as a black person, be it male, female, old, young, skinny, fat, religious, atheist, you will experience some type of racism. You will experience some type of bigotry, and I've have. If it was Caucasian, it would have gone viral. It did go viral, Molly Dolly. The video did go viral. It's just that it was still something that was suppressed, even though it went viral. See, that's the funny thing about the censorship online. Things can go viral and be censored at the same time and suppressed at the same time. You can have a video that has 6 or 7 million views, 10 million views, or whatever the case may be, and it can still be suppressed. It could go viral for a couple of days or so and then be suppressed. As this man had a history of racial profiling, maybe he thought he was doing his job. Yeah, Crimson Fantasy, I'll give it. Yeah, no, it's not going mainstream media viral, but nowadays, online surpasses mainstream media anyway. Yeah, but I don't know. I heard of this. Yeah, I'll say it like this, Crimson Fantasy. Whoever the manager is, or whatever they're about, they probably felt like they were doing their job. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his hand. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. Nothing wrong with asking questions, Caesar. I mean, this is a situation where it needs understanding, it needs awareness. This is not a one incident thing. This is not something that just happened in the Starbucks. You know, how is it doing calling cops on people who sitting at a, yeah, I agree with Tosh Time, because here's the thing. If okay, Green Bay Back, I got you. Here's the thing. If they're gonna do this across the board, like I said, there's a woman who filmed the video. The woman who filmed the video basically said she walked into the Starbucks. She didn't buy anything. I thought he asked them. No, he didn't. The manager did not ask them to leave. The manager called the cops. That's bad management. Why arrest them after they knew they were why they were there? Because the person wanted to be, they wanted to be a jerk. The manager didn't go over and ask the people to leave, because that's what you do as a manager. If I have somebody that comes into my establishment and they're being ignorant, the first thing I do before I call the cops and try to arrest this person for whatever reason is that I, as the manager, try to speak to the person and reason with them. And then, it's all good, Green Bay Wacky. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you. I understand that this is too deep for some people. Like I said, this is an issue that's important and dear to me because, and I'm not saying this as an attack towards anybody, because even after this live stream is over, me and Tosh Town, we know exactly these issues don't go away. This is not me doing this. This is not even for the views right now. I could give a damn, if folks are on this live stream or not. I'm just saying this because this is something that's important to me, and I care, that folks are on the live stream or whatever. But this is, you know, this is something I live. This is not just a story. This is not just, 6 thumbs up and 12 people watching. This is what I live. This is cops outside. When I see, people, going back and forth. When I encounter with the cops, I have to watch myself. I saw a cop last week who gave me a dirty look, and I'm just walking down the block. You look like you want to shoot me, and I got nothing. I'm not doing anything to you, but that's what happens, so it's what it is. All right, check you later, Green Bay Wacky. Thank you for coming through. Much love to you. See you. This is just the real thing. That's why this hits home with me. It touches a chord because at the end of the day, I can't turn this issue off. I can't just let this go. This is stuff that my nephew can face, that my brother can face. Yeah, you get the point, Green Bay Wacky, and I thank you for being by. Take it easy. I know you got a lot going on. You're just you're a live stream animal, or not an animal, you're a live stream maniac, whatever the case may be. But yeah, thank you, Green Bay Wacky, for coming through. Thank you for everybody that's coming through. It's just that this is something that it saddens me because this is not something that's just gonna go away. But these are issues that people of color face on an everyday basis. Imagine everywhere you go and being judged just because of the color of your skin. You don't have to say a word. You know, you could be an entertainer, you could be somebody with education, you could be a business person, you could be somebody who's never done drugs, never been arrested before in your life, but because of the, you know, misconceptions or the prejudice or the racism that somebody has in their heart, they judge you. And unfortunately, sometimes these folks are managers at Starbucks. Sometimes these folks are police officers. Sometimes these folks are judges. Sometimes these folks are lawyers. You know, sometimes these folks are common criminals. You know, and I'm not saying everybody in every situation is all innocent, but at the same time, you do have situations, so too many situations like this, where the people involved are innocent. Now, there's some people saying that they should have left. You know, they should have left when the cops came and gave them the order. Basically, the way the protocol was done, because there was no express threat and there's not a consistent nature of how this was done, I don't think they should have left. I think the manager should have had the balls to come out and ask them the question on what they were doing there. And after you find out, you make the determination on whether or not you should call the cops. You know, I will never understand it. The thought, it makes me sick and me so sad. I want a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Yeah, I want a Philly cheesesteak sandwich too. You know, but yeah, Len, thank you for coming by. I think the manager should have came out and had the balls and said, "Hey, look, what's going on, Groovy Blue 18?" And say, "Hey, look, what are you doing here? What's going on? See, you sitting here for a little while." And it was 20 minutes, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was just 20 minutes. I don't think it was a whole long time. I don't think it was like 3, 4 hours. You're sitting there, you're skulking at the manager, looking over the counter and putting your hand in your shirt, or pulling out stuff and putting it on the table. I don't think they were there for that long. So that means you were that nervous and that afraid. What's going on, Harriga? So it's I can't believe that some people are just it's just sad. I mean, hell, we've had a black president. I mean, you look at our entertainers and stuff like that. You buy our music. We're part of the society. Like I said, those are two American citizens. That's what makes people say stuff like Black Lives Matter. That's what makes people say, you know, um, our lives matter, or it's relevant, or hands up, don't shoot. This is the reason why you see stuff like this. The overall subject saddens me as we think about John Lennon. Imagine all the people. Yes, so situations like these spark movements where people feel like, hands up, don't shoot, hashtag Black Lives Matter, or whatever the case may be. I hate racists as well. Not happy with you, Mel. Well, guess what? I'm not happy with the racism in the world. I'm not happy with the racial profiling. It's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad that some of these things, happen the way they do. A lot of these things happen. And the best thing that came of this situation is that it showed that that we as black people know how to handle ourselves. You know, you know, I don't know about that. Did I miss your question? Let me see your question. Let me see your question if I missed your question, because I don't know what question you had. You know, like I said, to any trolls that may come by, um, like I said, this is not the night. This is not the night. Serious conversation anytime. You know, listen, um, I'm not blocking no freedom of speech, but I'll say it to you like this. This is not the time. This is not the time. If I'm on here talking about racial profiling, I spread love to anybody else out there. Love and peace to you all. I'm listen, what's going on? Yeah, this is a deep topic. This is a deep topic. Granny Monster is a deep topic. Um, listen, everything is all good. Everything is all good, CX. Everything is doing add value to the conversation. We'll take. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that one. No, this is somebody else's pink. This is stuff that was said about he's a troll guy. Yeah, this something was said about watermelon, which could be considered racism, or race baiting if you want to go there. So like I said, basically what I did was just put a timeout. I didn't block anybody. I put a timeout, but it's all good. Barrel Boy Woods, that's what's going on. But I'm gonna continue my serious. Well, my bad. If I got the wrong person, then my bad. But it must have been a mix up. My fault. My fault if there was a mix-up, but somebody said it, and I still have it in my chat about the whole watermelon thing. I'm sorry, I just hide in the background listening. Yeah, yeah, nah, wow, really, this is just me having a conversation, and I'm just talking. I kind of expressed my thoughts and said a lot of what I needed to say. And Tosh Tom is definitely, she can relate to where I'm coming from because, like I said, this is an issue that doesn't go away when this live stream is over. This is not something that's going to happen. Yeah, yeah, they can email me directly. It's not a problem. I'm not even worried about that right now because realistically, regardless of the trolls, if a troll could stop me from being racial profile right now, then I'll give out my phone number and we'll have a live conversation, or we can go and sit down in Starbucks and talk about it. But the reality is, nah, I'm not trying to come at nobody. Like I said, I got no hate towards anybody. It's all love. It's all peace. It's all love. It's all peace. Sure, I wish we could have, more, love and peace in the world and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm just really saddened by the whole situation. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you got to have, you know, sometimes you just got to have the conversation. Do you believe the theory that welfare was created to replace black fathers? Do I believe that? Welfare was created to replace black fathers. No, no, I don't believe welfare was created to raise black fathers. I think welfare is just a form of dependence from the system. I mean, there's many programs that people had, besides welfare, and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not gonna try to get into a name every, particular situation, but, I mean, as far as black fathers and stuff like that, that's a totally separate issue. Whether or not, welfare helps white fathers too. Exactly, I agree. Because I've learned, when I moved to the West Coast, there's just as many white people on welfare as black folks, and sometimes more. You go to different trailer parks and stuff. Hey, I have a lot of black people that I work for, five, and I treat them all the same. Well, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just working for people and treating them the same. I don't know what the fuss is about race. Everyone is equal. I wish everyone was equal. The welfare is in other countries too, as white families, and I agree. White families benefit from welfare just as much as black um, families. I saw a video on this topic. No, I'm not saying you can't ask the questions. Do you think the Starbucks was wrong? Yes, Michael, I do. Some people say all lives matter, but see, we all know that. We all know that all lives matter. That's not the problem. The problem is when people say Black Lives Matter, it's because you feel the anxiety, you feel the profiling, you see the profiling, the racism that comes. I mean, does everybody know all Black Lives Matter? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. It really doesn't feel like it when you have situations like that. I mean, I don't know if those were two young white men that would have went the same. If all lives matter, then why do people get mad when people say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter" or "Black Lives, all lives"? I mean, you could debate that as much as you want. Hey, Princess, what's going on, Princess? Thank you. I know what's happening, man. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into the whole Black Lives Matter versus all lives matter things. You are all going to think a joke, I promise. It's not, but back in Ohio, a guy was filling out some dating night on fire. It said, write a profile. He went, me mug and said, asked me about race. Interesting, interesting. I mean, I don't know, Granny Monster. I think it's a lack of understanding, a lack of love for people. The group Black Lives Matter is a hate group and an anti-white and extreme racist. They say they were decent people in the group, but not now. Um, People debate that. People debate whether Black Lives Matter is a black nationalist group, anti-white. I mean, it could be said in some ways and whatnot. Do you think Starbucks felt they should have brought something in the store to access the restrooms, a lot of places, stuff like that? Um, Michael, it's a situation where you could say that, but I think it's a selective situation based on how the people looked. I think the person, whoever the manager was concerned and was scared. I mean, if you really want to know what I think of the manager, I think the manager was scared, and he led into a situation. Even if it wasn't racial profiling, it looked like racial profiling. Did you hear the story of the black guy that got accepted to 20 colleges and white people were so mad? Yeah, I heard about that story. I heard about that story. And you got a happy belated birthday to Taj Tom out there. You're awesome, awesome person, person. There you go, touch time. You know, as far as the thing with Starbucks go, I mean, whether it was racial profiling or not, we really can't prove it. And they're probably hiding the identity of the manager or whatever the case may be. You could dig a little deeper on that if you wanted to, but I do think it's a situation where the manager was scared. That's hands down. I refuse to believe that that manager wasn't afraid of those black men in there, and that's just the bottom line is that racism is alive and ugly in this world. I think it was racially profiled, especially in Philly. I do know there's a restaurant that does not let a white person in there to eat. Well, if there's a restaurant that doesn't let white people in there to eat, I think that's wrong on the flip side. I don't think that racial profiling is right on either side. If you're in a place where you don't let white people in there, then that's wrong. Like I saw something on Vice News where it was this all black retreat, with all black women, and they didn't want any white people there. And I thought that was wrong. That was ignorant. I have more black friends than white friends, and they say BLM is a hate group and very ignorant. Now, believers racial profiling doesn't exist, but we have common sense. I do believe racial profiling still exists. It could be debated whether or not Black Lives Matters is a hate group, depending on, I guess, your perspective or how they come across. I don't really get too deep into that. The Starving Measure doesn't need to be in a position of power. I agree with you on that. We all bleed red. Yeah, I agree. People agree with you, Tosh Time. Can you recap on the story? Was the guy at Starbucks sitting there minding his business when they called the cops on him? Yes. To recap on the story, Caesar, basically what happened was there was two young black men sitting there waiting for a third friend to come through. And after being there for a few minutes, I think it was 20, 30 minutes, I'm not sure. They weren't there that long. They weren't there for hours, casing the joint. Racial profiling, it does exist, and I'm not proud to type that to you. Yes, I'm not proud to say that to you, CX. I'm not proud to say that to you that racial profiling exists. I would love to go along with you and say it doesn't exist. I would love to say, you know what? I could walk outside and not be should not force. I mean, yeah. Well, to recap the story, basically, two young black men were sitting inside the Starbucks, and you know, the manager for some reason felt like they should buy something. They didn't buy anything. The manager, from what we know, didn't walk up to them and say anything. Called law enforcement. Law enforcement came in there. I think about 6 or 7 different officers. Racial profiling does exist. I never said it didn't. I thought you were saying it didn't. CX, I always thought you were saying it. Law enforcement should be more of a guardian mindset rather than of a warrior in order to build trust and legitimacy within agencies and with public. Diverse police officers departments need to earn more trust. I agree with you, Rebel, and I don't hate police in any stretch. I'm not blaming the police because the police just didn't walk into a Starbucks and said we're gonna arrest two black men. And I understand the position that the police were put in, which is unfair in a way because like I said, they were coming into a situation where once the manager said to leave and they refused to leave, they could be charged with criminal trespassing. And I understand that. Two BLM members had kidnapped a handicapped kid and assaulted him for being white and voting for Trump isn't right and shows how the groups act. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything that Black Lives Matter does is right. I'm not a part of the group. I don't know what they're doing at the meetings. I'm not getting involved with that. Then my apology. I thought you were implying that racial problem doesn't exist. My mistake. Yeah, I say my mistake as well, CX. I'm not. I mean, I just look at racial profiling as one of those things that may not be heavily expressed as it was in many generations past, but it's still there. It's an undercurrent. It exists in institutions and society in different places and stuff like that. I even did a live stream some months back about the was it the paper bag test. If you light it in a paper bag, let me see this. If you light it in a paper bag, then you can't get into certain institutions. Yeah, I remember doing that. So that's something, colorism and whatnot. That's interesting. Using the N word without regard. That's what it is. Thank you, Harold. Appreciate that. Using the N word, that's a whole other topic. I'm not saying as a black person that we should use it. People do use it. I can't police the black community. That's a whole other issue right there. That's a whole other deep issue right there. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a lot. It would have to be said that Black Lives Matters if it were treated they do like they do. What? Yeah, yeah, no, no. It wouldn't. People, I agree with you, Princess. People wouldn't feel the need to say it if black folks weren't treated the way they were treated. Now, is it divisive? The term, is it not as inclusive? Yes, but at the same time, it does come with it does come with some merit as far as why people say it. Like I said, I don't agree with all that comes with it, but I get it. I do have a deep respect for myself. I think gaining respect needs to start with that first. I see too much that is the other side, then that sets a pattern of for blaming others' boundaries. I don't know. Be careful with that statement. Be careful. I mean, I agree, but that could come off as the wrong way. That could come off as take accountability for yourself as a community and just ignore the hate and whatnot. I'm not putting words in your mouth, Granny, but yeah, I've heard stuff like that before, and that can get a little dicey because people can misinterpret that as your I don't know, victim shaming and stuff like that. I'm not saying you're doing that, so I'm careful, like I said, um, yeah, respect is something that is earned. But see, hatred. See, here's the funny thing. Respect is something that needs to be earned, but a lot of times the hatred is not. You know, a lot of times the racial profiling is not. When I walk down the street and I'm just minding my own business and doing what I got to do, did I earn that? Should I have earned that? Should I deal with that? I would raise that everyone is equal regardless. Well, Molly Dolly, a lot of folks were raised in situations like that, and I'm glad that you were raised in a situation like that so you could understand this from a different perspective. But the unfortunate part is that some of us were raised in environments and situations where everybody is not treated. There must be lurkers in your chat. Maybe there's lurkers in my chat. I don't know. Right now, I'm just speaking my piece. And like I said, it's not meant to offend anybody. But like I said, me and Tosh Time can definitely attest to this, and anybody else, Princess as well, who is of African American descent, African or even Spanish, somebody of color. This is not something that you can turn off. I like the stream. We're having a conversation and people are getting about her head. Yeah, no, no. I try not to get high headed. I try to conversate and have conversation with all people. Like I said, I'm not mad at anybody. You know, for anything that they say in this chat. I get it. If someone isn't of color, they don't know what the deal is with it. I'm not gonna say that, Princess, but it's a deeper issue for us. Well, I have gained insight. It's been intriguing for sure, but need to scoop. Thank you, Granny Master. I appreciate you for coming by and giving your input. You definitely gave me some things to think about, as well as other folks is in here, which you really understand what you're saying. Yeah, and like I said, this is an issue that hits home for me because, like I said, I can't turn it off. I can't just, turn off the live stream and say, okay, these issues go away. In times of war, racism of any color needs to leave their BS at the door. Those soldiers have to depend on each other like that to survive. Yeah, in the war zone is a totally different thing, but it is what it is with that. Take care, Granny. I appreciate you for coming through. It's just like I said, it's a situation where we can't act like people don't discriminate on folks, based on color. You know, um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the answers to it. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I got all the answers to it, but it is. I have friends that aren't of color who can understand, but I get where you're coming from. Sometimes people aren't profiled, they can't relate. Yeah, I can see where that's coming from. If a blood transfusion is needed, why would a racist parent allow their child to suffer when the blood of a human is the blood of a human skin color? Well, here's the thing. Unfortunately, rebels stay sovereign. There are people who take it to that level to where they feel maybe another person's blood is impure or it's impure or it's hatred. I mean, hatred and racism and profiling and stuff like that still exists in the world. And I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to take this all into slavery because of something that happened in a particular Starbucks, but it's just a reminder that just when you thought you've come so far as a society, you realize and you're just giving little reminders and tidbits, almost, sprinklings and stuff like that, that we still have so much further to go. We still have so much further to go as a society. We still have so much conversation, dialogue, and things to do. As Martin Luther King said, it's like we've came so far, but we have so much farther to go. I'm paraphrasing, and we have so much further to go as a society, as a human, as a human race, as a country, like I said, as as a people of the world, citizens of the world, I mean, because, all races, all colors, all hues are beautiful. Everybody should be equal. All life should matter. Most proud fallen is all is just the memes like, ice for science, community, chicken, da, 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 da. Yeah, but see, CX, the thing about all that stuff, for some people, it's really a point of contention because that's not something that's just a troll or a meme. That's not something that just stops, with that. It reminds people of how far we come and how many things we fought for. The jokes about the watermelons and the white face or the black face or whatever the case, the racial stuff, the racial epithets, those are things that people fought and died for us to be respected as people. Because at one point, I think in this country, black people weren't even seen as human. I think what was it? What was it? 3/5? Somebody could tell me. I think we was 3/5 or 1/4 human, something like that. To the point during the civil rights movement back in the 70s, 60s and 70s, we had to walk around with signs saying that I am a man. You think about that for a second, I am a man. I mean, as black people, we had to walk around with signs saying I am a man. Not 3/4, not 1/4, not 1/5. I am a man. That's deep. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Give me the blood as long as I say his lies. I agree with you, Caesar. As a nurse, people refuse blood for racist and religious reasons on both sides. I agree with you, Molly Dolly. Yes, it does. It does happen on both sides. Unfortunately, black people can be racist too. People believe that that's a myth that we can't, but yes, we can. Seeing it and being targeted is two different things. I agree with you, Princess. It does happen. Racism and when everyone is the same color, and I'm paraphrasing a quote that I heard many years ago. Tosh, I have 13 subs. Okay. Um, that's cool. That's cool. All the same on this side, Stinky and Pinky. That's interesting. Yeah, we are. We do bleed the same blood. We do breathe the same air, even if it's polluted or whatever the case may be. It's sad though that people see the differences and we do profile each other or hate each other the way that we do, and it happens on both sides. It's not just white people. It's not just black people. People of all races have racism towards each other and towards other people. Black people can be racist too, and I equally hate that. Yes, Tosh Tom. See, most people don't understand, even in this chat, that even me saying what I just said about black people's being racist, I can get in trouble for that. There's a lot of black people out there that don't want to hear that. No, they don't. It says the 3/5 compromise was a compromise reached among the states delegates during the 1787 United States Constitutional Convention. You know, and that's what I'm talking about with Rebel State Sovereign. So for black people, yes, it is a big deal. I mean, we were 3/5 human beings. We weren't even considered all of a human being at one point in this country. And people don't understand that we had to have the Voters' Right Act of 1964 passed just for us to be able to vote in this country. So for those people to vote for somebody like Donald Trump, if you're a Trump supporter, I understand that. Even if you're a black person and you're a Trump supporter, remember there's a Voters' Right Act that made it so people who were naturally born in this country of color, specifically black, or African American, had to be given the right to vote. So it is what it is. Do you hear about the teen that got shot at a ring the doorbell direction? Yeah. I heard about that. I actually should have told. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. You didn't have to have a Voters' Rights Act to be able to vote for Trump. Me as an American citizen, people don't like to go to that, but an act had to be moved and written, in order for me to go out and vote. Women too. Women did not have the right to vote either. Yes, women too. Oprah 2020. Well, I'm not voting for Oprah. I'll vote for Trump again before I vote for Oprah. But well, not again. Don't quote me on that. I'll vote for Trump to get in again before I go vote for Oprah. I'm good. I'm good on that one. No offense to Oprah, but like I said, I don't know about her politics. I gotta find out a little bit more. I don't hate Oprah. Don't give me no Oprah hate or whatever. I'm not ready for Oprah yet. Like I said, I mean, unless she gonna give me a free car, I might vote. Nah, but let me stop playing around. In any event, like I said, I endorse no candidate. Oprah would be a nightmare. Pull Hillary out of prison for that. Oh my God, it was funny. I don't know if anybody's seen the Republican convention. It was General Flynn. He was saying his speech, and then somebody came out the crowd and said Hillary for president. And I didn't mean to laugh, but it was a funny moment. But like I said, I'm not getting into the politics of it all right now. Like I said, if Oprah want to run, she can run. If Donald Trump want to run, he can run. I heard Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson was supposedly running. It's all fun and games to me, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's political theater to an extent. Elmo 2020, he's fun. Yeah, I'll vote for Tickle Me Elmo. It's Elmo. Yeah, imagine that. He probably would win. Oh my God. Imagine Tickle Me Elmo versus Trump. Oh my God. But he's a color too. I don't trust Ben Carson, but we'll leave that alone. That's another story. Ben Carson, I don't know. He's a nice, well-spoken guy. Great movie by Cuba Gooding Jr. Gifted Hands. I mean, great movie. But we'll leave it at that. We still are considered citizens. It is the Constitution that could kill us. Well, some people would debate that, and definitely. Yeah, I think he's too soft as well, CX. I think he is. Both orangey red. That's funny. Same with Ted. Ted who? Which one? Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz is interesting. I mean, what's this other guy from Florida? Marco Rubio. I liked him. Okay, I'm heading out. So the Caesars. Okay, bye guys. Thank you for throwing the plug in there. Appreciate Caesar. Thank you for coming by. I would love to vote for you, brother. Well, I don't know about I don't know about voting for me, but I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just having Rubio sweats too much. That's funny. Um, yeah, nice Caesar. Thank you, and don't forget to check out Caesar. Not here for subs, but I just checked out. Yeah, I appreciate you for being here. As long as you did, Tosh Time. Definitely, definitely, definitely. I didn't expect to. I didn't even know if I was gonna be able to talk about this tonight. But I did, and it was cool. I appreciate you folks for coming through and whatnot. Like I said, I'm not gonna try to extend this to an hour just to get more watch time, because like I said, this is not about the watch time right now. You tell them like you see it. I appreciate that, Harold. Ice was signing for president. That's funny. Hey, listen. At this day, we got a reality star in the White House. Anybody could be president. Like I said, who's somebody I would vote for president? The Cookie Monster. Why not? It's Ice Poseidon. We could have the Cookie Monster. Who else? Who else we could go for president? Anybody out there for president? Yeah, Princess. Thank you. Because actually, the serious part of the live stream is now over. For those people that have not noticed. But I appreciate everybody for coming. Big Bird, there you go. Big Bird. Ice Poseidon would make all people of color. Wow, I'm not even gonna go there. But it is what it is. Um, what else could I say? Like I said, it's a situation where I just say we have to do better as a humanity, as a society. And I express to any Pee Wee Herman could be president next. Yeah, if we go that way, Pee Wee's Playhouse. But yeah, I don't know. We probably got to vet Pee Wee. We got to make sure ain't nothing strange going on for a little piece of change with Pee Wee's Playhouse. He might be doing some little freaky in there, but we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that up to deliberation and consideration as far as Pee Wee, because if that's the case, then you go on R. Kelly. R. Kelly in the White House. Could you imagine that? Oh my God, I heard that, David. Yes. Ice Beside is good. Wow, I'm not even getting into that. Yeah. Like I said, R. Kelly in the White House, trapped in a closet somewhere. Like I said, we're gonna leave that alone. I don't know. Yeah, but Pee Wee's Playhouse. Pee Wee Herman, he's still on the scene doing his thing. That's just what that is, man. Shout out to Pee Wee Herman, wherever you are. I'll go live tomorrow night at 11 Eastern time. Okay, that's cool. I don't know where to go with that CX, but hey man, to each his own. Yeah, shout out to Pee Wee Herman again. And shout out to all you beautiful, wonderful people that have come through to my chat. Shout out to all you folks that are just taking the time out to have a conversation with me. Forgive me if I was a little bit passionate or whatever the case was. Maybe I shouldn't apologize for the passion, but I wasn't trying to be offensive towards anybody with the comments and the criticisms and the things that I've said in this chat. It's just it is what it is. Inglewood, okay, all right, I hear you. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I just think we live in a society, man, where we need to spread more love and really look out for each other. The Inglewood connection. I'm just jet lagged. I'll be awake for a week. Yeah, I haven't been jet lagged in a while, but I'm somewhere up there in the sky. And like I said, and I do appreciate you for being an awesome audience and whatnot. Always big respect to you. Yeah, I'm from Inglewood. Yeah, okay. Inglewood up to no good. Trey Gotti and Tim Scott. I don't think Trey Gotti's gonna go for it though. In that case, Paul Ryan. I like Paul Ryan a little bit, but it's what it is. Again, thank you, folks. Appreciate you. I'm not gonna go an hour. I'm not gonna push that. Um, if all hearts and minds are clear, have a good night. Appreciate you. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.